Hey, I'm Art Travelin, and this is Eternal Life Church. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about an alternate way to look at um, the Ten Commandments. So stay tuned. Okay, the Ten Commandments are a wonderful set of precepts, and I think if people follow them, they're going to have a much better life. I like to look at them from like the kind of like the original like 8-limb yoga philosophies, and they're basically the yamas and the niyamas, which are the do's and the don'ts. Basically, that's what yama and niyama basically boils down to. But so there's 5 of them. There's ahimsa, which uh, well, I'll read them first. Ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, and aparigraha. So ahimsa is basically it means not harming anybody. That's non-violence. I think in a previous video I said satya, but satya is basically peacefulness. Let me see. Honesty, yeah, telling the truth, truthfulness, and asteya means not to steal. That's one of the 10 commandments: thou shalt not steal. And brahmacharya, which falls into like the 7th commandment, which is thou shalt not commit adultery. But this goes a little bit further. It does talk about it means celibacy. I talk about that. I think people should practice celibacy as much as they can, at least prior to getting married. Inside a marital life, you can have as much sex as you want as long as the two of you agree on it, and everything's fine. But brahmacharya just mainly talks about being in control of your sexual apparatus and not letting it control you. So that's an important precept. And aparigraha, which means not hoarding or collecting things, or like having this fear that there's not going to be enough for you. It requires a greater faith in the reality that God's going to always provide for you, regardless of what happens. So when we move on to the niyamas, there's 5 niyamas. There's sausha, santosa, tapas, svadhyaya, and isvara pranidhana. So sausha is purity. Trying to keep a clean house, keeping clean body, trying to think pure thoughts, and only letting pure things into your body. Again, I talk about plant-based diet and reducing sugar, caffeine, alcohol, like getting rid of all that stuff. If it's not fresh air, fresh water, don't let it into your system. If it's not fresh food, don't let it into your system. It's challenging. I know at sometimes it's challenging, but you practice every day. You work on it. There's that old saying from the Bible. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, right? But if you keep working with it, you'll eventually get there, and you will have your body purified. Santosa means contentment, being happy with what you have, and not denigrating the stuff you have and looking at your things and saying, oh, this is terrible, this isn't worth anything, I gotta get something new, I'm not good enough, or like my clothes aren't good enough, or I'm not wealthy enough. Just being content with what you have. Tapas means being austere, practicing a little bit of austerity, not necessarily giving in to every little bit of sense pleasure that you can have. Means to be able to kind of go without things, maybe practicing fasting here and there, realizing that thou shalt not live by bread alone. Svadhyaya means study of the self, observing yourself, learning from yourself, getting to know yourself, and what things like maybe trigger you, what things maybe cause you to slip up, and learning to overcome fear and learning to overcome guilt and anger and negative emotions. That's really important. And then this last one, Isvara Pranidaha, means dedication to the Lord, dedication to God, like trying to live every bit of your life um, in a way that is uplifting, to God and inspirational to other people. Again, easier said than done. I like these yamas and niyamas. In a way, they're a little more expansive than the Ten Commandments. Practicing the Ten Commandments is certainly good, but I think you can actually go a step further with some of these other practices. Again, I believe that the key principle is nonviolence, not killing, and that holds us to a higher standard. It means that we don't kill animals. You can kill, obviously if you cut a celery, cut a celery stalk, you're killing that plant. Or if you're killing, cutting an herb, oftentimes you're going to kill that plant. But plants don't have the same capacity to feel pain that animals do. They don't have a central nervous system. So yeah, they feel pain and they can sense challenges to their body, to their plant-based body, but it's not to the same level as a fish or a chicken or a pig or a cow would feel when it's slaughtered. So even though those animals I just named don't have self-awareness like people do, they still are able to feel and experience a lot of the same things that we do. Just because they don't speak and they don't have kind of a memory to reflect on things doesn't mean that they don't deserve to have a life that's free of pain and suffering. And unfortunately, if you eat chicken, fish, all that stuff, you're participating in the killing. You're providing demand to the people to go out and have to do that stuff. So this fresh look at the Ten Commandments, it allows you to realize that there can be a more expansive piece to it. There can be more to it than just following the Ten Commandments. I mean, following the Ten Commandments themselves can be challenging, but that's the reason that we're here, is to improve our lives and to improve our interaction with the world, and to let the world know that there is a God, and to bring people back to God. So hopefully that gave you some new light, new ways to look at the Ten Commandments. So that's it for this video. As always, the light in me honors the light in you. Peace, and may God love you. Bye-bye.